adopt the final budget. Whereas the town of Johnsburg held public hearing on November 6th, whereas the town board subsequently approved the preliminary budget on the same date. Now therefore resolve the town board hereby approves and adopts the 2026 budget as substantiated attached. I need a motion to the floor, please.
Move. Second.
Any? Yes. Yep. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next is resolution to approve the OCTAX recommendations. So I need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
Motion.
Second?
All right, any questions or conversations about the awards? I think the biggest thing that people should know is that the Depot Museum got almost $25,000 for the 125th Ride to the Presidency for Theodore Roosevelt, which I think is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I just want to, I know the public packet didn't have the entire attachment that we have. I just wanted to go through the Depot Museum. As you just said, it's for a Theodore Roosevelt event. Cannery Pond for their ongoing winter concert series, primarily for advertising. So advertising in the Sun, posters, NPR spot, art, and some artist fees. And then the Our Town Theater Group, again, part of that goes to marketing in their production that they're doing. There was the recommendation on the Depot Museum that there's a lot of planning still to be done to make this event a reality, in that the suggestion was to earmark the funds for this event, but not release until review in the spring. So,
And that was from one person on the committee.
well, it was the summary of recommendations.
Okay. It's a little hard to know that those are summaries. One of my questions was, are they purchasing the antique cars?
No, no.
Are they renting them?
I,
Is that the rental price?
if I understand correctly, and again, I wish Tony was here. There are a couple that I think they might be renting for the actual parade. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
Greg
Oh,
is
there
here.
you are.
Greg.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, as far as the parade goes, the lease or rental, whatever.
Okay.
There's a company in central New York that has like thousands of vehicles of every sort. Not a wagon, but, you know, a horse-drawn,
Mhm.
vehicle like Roosevelt, loading that's like going on the museum, cars, that area.
Okay.
And I just want to emphasize that we are not working alone. We're also working with town of Newton, working with town of Minerva. Our funds will be spent in this area, but we're working with the other towns to make this a big celebration. We've been meeting since last February.
Any other comments or questions?
June,
I think
and I
it's-
was second. Thank you.
Great.
Okay. All right, seeing no more questions, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Next is resolution to authorize relevy of outstanding water receivables. We need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Danae, thank you for all your work on this.
Yeah, this is just per the rules and regulations, a relevy on outstanding water bills.
And so it's going to go on the Warren County tax bills.
Correct.
Yeah, it's just like school taxes that hadn't been paid, everything sent to the county and we levied on the property taxes in December.
Okay, have a first and a second, do we not? Okay. Seeing no more conversation or questions, call for vote. All those in favor? Aye. Resolution to rescind Resolution 17925, closing the mine process for the town. Pete brought this to our attention. Thank you, Pete. We really, can you come down and explain this? Because unfortunately, I know some of the pieces of it, but there's no way in creation I'm going to be able to.
Where'd he go?
He's hiding.
Oh, he's gone.
Several months ago, we discussed closing of the highway sand mine. It's something that we've been discussing and pushing for years, so that we could begin reclamation of what is and always has been alienated parkland, and then we could return that to a state that it could be developed in the future. We thought the process would include actually making a statement as a board that the mine was going to close, and then we would notify the state. That, if we went that process, would also trigger a 2-year period where we would have to complete the reclamation, and then essentially Fred's mining permit would be terminated, and not only would he not be able to remove any more material or screen any more material, he also would not be able to stockpile material on the highway department property, which is the last thing we want to do. We definitely don't want to take away Fred's ability or the highway department's ability to have their winter sand stockpiles. Even if we're not going to be mining it, at some point, we may be buying sand, we still need a place to store it. So over the last few months, I've had a couple of conversations with Kate Smith. She is a mining specialist from the DEC, and her guidance for the town was, instead of saying we want to close the mine, what we want to do is essentially ask Fred to pause his sort of active mining operations. We're not going to take any more sand out of the ground there. We are going to begin the reclamation process starting closest to the entrance to Ski Bowl, essentially right behind the new banner poles. And we are going to work back towards the new salt shed, which is about the area where we've all heard Kelly Nessel and some other folks from the parks, Friends of the Parks or Parks Committee, talk about having eventually a new road maybe coming in from 28N and new ball fields and a whole bunch of other future development. Once we are ready, and now we're no longer going to be on a 2-year timeline, but once we are ready and have reclaimed the area from the banners to the salt shed, to the standards given to us already by the DEC, we can ask Kate Smith to come back, give us our sign off that that area meets their reclamation standards, and then we can ask for a permit modification and a redrawing of the life of mine boundary. Currently, the life of mine boundary includes a much larger area than it really ever needed to include. Specifically, it includes things like the fuel station that town employees, county employees, school employees use to fuel their vehicles. It also includes the parking area where Fred's staff park every day. So by going through the modification process, redrawing the boundary, we can return a huge chunk of the previously alienated parkland to a state that it can be available for future development. We can cut out the areas adjacent to Fred's shop that never needed to be part of the mine anyway. And ultimately, Fred can continue to stockpile winter sand and other materials there. And if ever needed, could even set up his screening plant. He could bring in material from somewhere else to screen there. So this is really the best of all worlds. So I know it was a little confusing. I've done a lot of learning over the last few months, talking to folks. If we can rescind that resolution, adopt the one that I've put in front of you today, after December 1st, we'll ask Fred to put his active mining on pause, and then I'll spend the next few months lining up our first round of reclamation, which will hopefully start as soon as the snow is gone.
Thank you for
Yes,
figuring all of that out so we can,
yeah, thank you.
yeah.
And-
So Fred can still stockpile because that would have been awful if he couldn't have done that. So thank you for figuring that out for us. I know that was a lot of work.
And some of that reclamation has really already begun as well, right, with Fred?
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it's important to separate what our ultimate vision for that piece of parkland is, right? Again, with no berm between 28 and the tennis courts, with ball fields and maybe a new pavilion, all of those things that we hope to have someday. That is a much different vision than what is actually required to meet DEC standards. Parts of the existing mine, like if you were to drive in along the tennis courts right now, that little berm immediately to your right that Orta had moved over and then seeded, that already is reclaimed by DEC standards. So I think through this process, I can say that like some of my fears about how long it was going to take to reclaim the mine, how much it was going to cost to reclaim the mine, those fears have kind of been eased. They've kind of gone away. We know that with the budget being adopted for next year, that my department has $75,000 to get started. I intend to use every cent of that to get as much done as I can. And then I'll be coming back to you this time next year to let you know what I think it's going to take to finish the job. Again, even though we don't have to stick to a 2-year timeline, for me, that's still my goal. So I'm hoping that by the spring of 27, the town is getting that permit modification. We're getting our final sign off. Fred still has what he needs. The parks have what it needs to move forward with our vision for that whole area. So,
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Pete. I need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
So moved.
Second?
Any other questions or conversation around this? Seeing none, call for vote. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Next on the agenda, resolution to hire full-time temporary laborers at the Highway Department. And part of this, there are, I think, pay rates in this? Yep, okay. Need a motion to bring this to the floor, please?
Second.
Okay. Any questions around
Will
the,
Mr. Crowdy be available? Good, okay. Excellent.
And just for everybody to know, this is a budget neutral request.
okay. Any other conversation around this? Seeing none, call for vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Supervisor's report is in front of you. I'm not sure if people have any questions. If not, I do have some commentary to make about the meal site. I received an email, phone call on Friday and an email subsequent to that phone call from Dee Parks, who is the Director of Office of the Aging. And was notified that starting today, the meal site was not going to be open until next January, this coming January. Of course, finding out on Friday wasn't exactly what I would call great timing, because it certainly left us scurrying, trying to figure out what to do. I've had conversations, I guess John Taflin was not happy with the timing of the email or the phone call. I guess he's had a conversation with her. But starting next week, Tuesday, I will be going to Warrensburg, picking up the meals, bringing them back to the meal site, and making sure that anybody that wants to have a meal at the meal site can do so. So until the end of the year, they do have someone who's applied, so my time doing this might be very short. But that's, again, I am, Pete and I have had this conversation. I know Arthur's had a couple of conversations with other folks. Why the last minute notification is absolutely beyond me. Again, out of our hands. I just, it's disappointing and frustrating, to say the very least.
So it's Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, yes. But starting next Tuesday, meals will be at the meal site. Obviously Thanksgiving, that's, I believe Thanksgiving or closed, or the meal site's closed on Thanksgiving. But going forward, Tuesdays and Thursdays for the rest of December, I will be picking up the meals unless they end up with somebody. Dee said that they had an applicant who came in and applied for that job. But this is the situation we're in, folks, unfortunately. Truly unfortunate. Yes, Arthur?
You know, I would call the advocacy for our meal site has been going on for quite a while.
Yes, it has.
But to your point, it raises the need to kind of think about that meal site differently. We'll fix what we have to do now at the end of the year, but going forward, it's something that we need to kind of think about in terms of that. Whether or not we can ever do it as a full-blown meal site, don't know. We need to do some planning for that.
Yep, I agree.
And Thanksgiving dinner is tomorrow.
Ah,
Okay. So on Wednesdays, are they doubling up on meals for?
they're
Thursday?
bringing in, everybody will be brought a meal. The meal for Tuesday will be brought on Monday. The meal for Thursday will be brought on Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, so people aren't gonna miss. It's just that it's not,
It's not ideal.
no, it's far from ideal.
And I think Pete and I talked about that. It's not just the food, there's also the social part of what the meal site offers for
Yes.
people. And also the work that the senior committee has put into expanding program on those days, which is, I can't even imagine how extraordinarily frustrating that is for the group and all the work that they have done. And then to have those 2 days on such short notice.
Well, and I'm sorry to laugh, folks, because there is, Jeff Konis is probably one of his more infamous lines. It's not funny, but it is comical. The first time Dee Parks and I spoke, she said, I sent you an email. And I said, what's the email? And she read it off to me. I said, that email doesn't exist. Well, she sent it to the same email, even though I gave her the correct email the last time we spoke 4 or 5 months ago. So I'm completely flummoxed by the whole thing. I just don't. Yes, Judy?
I just, as one of the drivers, I just feel totally fired up about this whole situation. We're being treated like an unwanted stepchild. The whole town of Johnsburg meals service is being treated like an unwanted stepchild. And I'm hoping that maybe people will, there's an open meeting on Friday at 10 o'clock, the Warren County budget meeting. And there are a group of us, we're talking about being there and trying to voice our opinion and I mean, these people that we give food to, take food to, need the food.
I'm not arguing that one bit.
It's a terrible situation.
It's certainly, I don't argue.
And your voices may
Yeah,
be.
yeah, I
may
mean,
be
I
very
honestly, I
valuable
would,
in that situation.
I would encourage that.
Has anybody gone to the press about this? Maybe we need to do that a little bit, because again, this whole thing, it actually, you said it exactly, we're like the stepchild that's being ignored, pushed aside. And I don't understand why, and this is a chance for cooperation to go further ahead, to forward things. And I don't understand what is the problem, why they're fighting against it.
Do you know if we're the only township that's having this problem with,
I really haven't had conversations with other supervisors, but I certainly can.
Chestertown no longer has theirs.
Correct, yes, it's just home delivery, correct. Yep.
I don't know how much more we want to get into, but at this point, true to our community, we have people who put together activities starting tomorrow and Thursday. We're going to continue doing that, thanks to Anita and Smith and so many individuals. So we're going to continue that activity at the center. It was supposed to be built upon meals, but again, we'll figure that out because we don't want to, now that we've moved this far in terms of offering activities up there, we just don't want to stop that. That would be the worst message. And part of the explanation, depending on, Pete or myself or others, their staff have accumulated so much time. They have to get them time off between now and the end of the year. So that is supposedly, I don't know if John, when you talked to John today or whatever, whether that was the explanation.
And I think it's a poor excuse, candidly.
No, it is. I just trying to put it in context.
No, I know, Arthur, I'm just saying, I think it's pretty weak, in my opinion.
Maybe it is the same response, as you know, that every time we try to think through some creative approaches to the mill site, they just don't seem to be ready or willing to find a way to make this happen for our mill site.
I would agree. Okay. Do I need a motion for the supervisor? Can I get a motion for the supervisor report, please?
So moved.
Second,
Any conversations around my supervisor report?
Back to the meal site.
Yeah.
We have 5 Tuesdays left in the year, roughly 5 Thursdays, taking out
Thanksgiving and,
Thanksgiving and Christmas. Is it possible, and would the county be willing, for volunteers to step up, prepare food on those days so that we assure that our seniors have something to eat?
so I'm gonna say this publicly. Pete knows what I'm about to say is, my plan honestly is to make ziti for Thursday and have people come and eat on Thursday. Now, could I possibly get in hot water for this? Yeah. But if the Warren County sheriffs don't have anything else better to do and they want to arrest a supervisor for serving seniors, then so be it. Unfortunately, Jim, there's so many different, because I've had conversations around this. So many, they have to follow certain dietary protocol. But as far as I'm concerned, this coming Thursday, what they don't know won't hurt them.
Well, the bottom line is, the county has said, we cannot use their equipment. There would have to be a standalone agreement between the town and the county to go in the kitchen and use the equipment.
But don't we have Sodom Cross building there?
There's also no food to cook
Yeah.
because they have wiped out the entire place.
But true to our community, we have people who are very creative about finding solutions. And we're going to see that probably tomorrow in conjunction with the activity.
I mean, I look and I know North River has been highly involved in having a harvest meal or this meal. Some of our volunteer fire companies do that regularly. So the ability to cook meals and provide them, we have in our community.
Mhm.
And we can do it in facilities that are going to meet the guidelines of Department of Health. As far as nutritional value,
Don't even go down that
some
road,
nutrition is better than no nutrition. right? So people going hungry as opposed to whether it meets their dietary need per se, seems ridiculous to me. Nobody's suggesting we cook hot dogs and hand them out. So,
But they do at the meal site. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't people get hot dogs as a meal every now and again? I mean,
Rare.
but it happens. Yeah, it happens. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Pardon me? Yeah. Yeah. All right, I need the vote, I guess, bring no more conversation on the supervisor's report. I need a call for a vote, please. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Next is warrants.
Motion?
Oh, okay.
Second.
Any questions or conversation around the warrants? Seeing none, call for vote. All those in favor? Aye. Committee reports. Mr. Hyde, do you have anything for us?
Not a lot with solid waste. I know things are working rather smoothly. Pete's been in touch with the county, and I believe they're pretty impressed with what we've got going on. I'm real pleased to be able to say that. Now that we're back as a full member of Peters, we could probably have a meeting here before the next board meeting, which would be good, but things are going quite smooth. Not solid waste, but I just wanted to thank the parks guys. I see our cemetery, Mill Creek Cemetery, the guys are out there with leaf blowers, and I don't think our cemeteries have ever, in my history living in this town, looked better than they have since Pete's been taking care of them. We paid a contractor for a while that did it twice a year, and it never looked proper to me, and our stuff looks good. We should be proud as a community for having the way that's being taken care of. Something good to see. Make sure your guys know that, Pete, please.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Ms. Bowers?
Just a reminder, we have a childcare meeting December 15th, at Tierney Pond Center at 5:30. And this is not a committee report, but I do want to bring up that we have two local laws that we need to take care of. The first one, we have a time constraint on it. For the senior exemptions, we have to do it really at the next board meeting because
Yep. No
the
argument.
the following one, we could do a
The resolution.
public hearing at 6:30, have it before at 7. And then we also have to do, and that has to be done in December for next year.
Mhm.
And then the local law for the food pantry. So I just want to put that on our radar as a board and what we need to do to get that done. I know the attorneys have to write both of those laws. Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
And multiple phone calls and emails.
okay.
Is there also the local law for the people with disabilities?
Yeah, that's part of,
Senior,
that's,
I think
yeah,
that would be,
yeah.
Senior exemption.
Senior exemption and disabilities, yes,
and
correct.
that would be one on, so
I
it's not
bel-
senior.
Yes, yes,
okay.
correct. Yep.
Can we send anything we can do to speed it along?
The only thing that I've, like I said, I haven't counted the number of emails I've sent to the attorney on this one, or the phone calls. Short of showing up and standing in front of her desk.
Okay,
But and I have made it clear to the attorney I speak to the most, Glenn Bruning, that this needs to get done. And he has made that clear to
Okay.
the attorney who's in charge of
okay,
this.
okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Ann, for bringing up, just so everybody knows, if we don't change the scale, there are many individuals who are right at 39,999, and with the increases in Social Security, they will lose the exemption starting January. It's a real-time issue, right?
I can drive down and stand in front of her desk.
What prevents us from going to another town that already has this? Getting their local law, basically copying it verbatim and presenting it here as our local law. If the lawyer isn't gonna do their job and get it here for the
I-
people, let's
there's one that we've got to
There's-
be able to,
Yeah, so you go to another town that has that local law, get a copy of it verbatim, you change it to Johnsburg, you put in the various differences,
Thresholds.
and then we present it. Now, if it's passed in another community, I'm sure it's already got legal review from it. If our lawyers aren't gonna do what we've asked them to do, let's get this done, period.
Just be careful of the process to get to that point. There needs to be a
Yep,
public hearing.
public
it needs
hearing.
to be
Yeah.
noticed, all
Yep.
of this
I
stuff. So, yeah,
believe-
I get it, getting it all together, but just be
Yeah.
careful
because
of
at
the
this,
process.
so if we bring it on the second, and at the second, we say we want to have a public hearing, and we can notice that so that it happened at 6:30 before the 16th. That, if we did it that way, everything would be correct.
Then it has to be sent to the state, and if the state doesn't approve it and get it back to us before January 1st, then rushing was for nothing. So that's what I'm saying, we need to be careful of the process. Do you want to call a public hearing? Are we going to have it available for December 2nd?
I know that Queensbury has a law in the books, and I can certainly pull that one up.
And again, just.
Yep.
Let's make sure we
Can-
follow the process, because if that's the case, we follow it through, and there's an I that's not dotted or a T that's not crossed, then and I know we're waiting. I contacted the attorneys as well. I'm frustrated. I'm getting absolutely nothing, but, so we wanted to call a public hearing for said local laws. There's no numbers assigned to them. There's nothing that's been done yet, so we couldn't really do that at this meeting. So yes, the second we could call a public hearing for the 16th at 6:30, and then at 7 o'clock, we could say we pass them. I fill out the paperwork the next day, send it to the state, and then it's in their hands.
As this is such a time-sensitive issue,
Mhm.
as soon as we have a document in our possession, is there any reason that we cannot call a special meeting in order to
We
take
can call a
action
special
and
meeting
to
call-
adopt that, and then that would give us a little bit more breathing time?
We could do a special meeting to call a public hearing, but you need to remember, I need 10 days to notice it in the newspaper legally and online. So
Okay.
if we don't do it on the 2nd, it would have to be shortly thereafter.
Well, what I'm saying is before the second, is sometime in
Sure.
the upcoming,
Sure, if
a
we
week
have the
from now.
document and we want to call a special meeting, but the
Okay,
special
call
meeting needs to be
training.
noticed as well. So there's a time frame of getting
Right.
the information out.
Understood. But
Yep.
the quicker we can get a head start on this, I think the quicker the better, the nicer the finish.
How much time do you need to notice for the special meeting?
10 days?
3 special meeting.
Theoretically, 10 days, but due to the time constraint, I mean, the public, I'm sure, would be in favor of, 48 hours. I could post it on the website,
Right.
on the Facebook page, and on my town clerk board, that this is a special meeting to set a public hearing. I'm sure there's not going to be anyone that's going to be
Okay,
angry at me for not following
Right.
the process.
A real concrete piece, the assessor has to take the new limits, the state limits, and create a sliding scale, something that Jim talked about earlier.
Yep.
That actually work can be done now, so that, because you have, part of the local law is reference to the
The sliding
It's
scale.
the scale,
sliding scale.
right.
And if we could follow what we did in 23, I know that we didn't have a local law then, but indeed, they follow the process anyway. So if the assessor could do that now, we will have the guts of the local law, the practical side, ready to go.
so email the assessor, ask to create a sliding scale for anything else, other language?
No, that's the,
Okay, so,
and the sliding scale, when you look at the 23, what the board passed, you can see the language necessary to implement the sliding scale. And the sliding scale starts in the max of 50, and then you bracket it down to 40,000 pounds over each.
It's right on the
It's
state
not
website.
really complicated, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dave would understand.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he
Okay.
knows exactly
He's
what,
in
yeah.
tomorrow too, so that.
Yeah.
And the local law is really easy to write.
Again, Arthur, I don't understand why I haven't gotten, I mean, and when I say, I don't know how many emails with no response and phone calls with no response.
To Jim's point, this is a relatively standard.
Mhm.
approach.
Right. Yep. Mr. Williams.
Yeah, to add another one from our lawyers that we're still waiting on are the rules and regulations for the sewer district. Again, becomes a local law. We need to do the whole process. Not as time sensitive, not as impactful if we don't get it done to people, but that is something that we still need to make sure we do. Couple of meetings this past week here in town, here at Tannery Pond. On Monday, there was a sewer public meeting for information for people in the district, and I'm sure some other people that came up to listen in. Pretty lengthy, close to 2 hours or so of addressing issues, concerns, answering questions. I think most people left and felt as though they got the answers that they were looking for on that. Thursday, then, there was an economic meeting that was here. A couple of notes from that was what the sewer can potentially bring, what it has already brought as far as people that are interested in developing. Some exciting plans were presented. One thing that I would like to do that didn't necessarily or clearly come out at that, there were developers that were here that are sharing their plans. There was, the people from the Copperfield, but we have a strong, dedicated business community on Main Street, and they have stuck it out. They've invested. We've had local investment that has occurred here, and each individual property is part of this area's rebound. So from Rob Wigg and the development that he has done, and how he's maintained his properties, to Lori Arnheider that has been here through thick and thin, year after year after year after year. They're a piece. This new development is a piece. And again, if you listened to it online, the future is bright. Sewer, there was a big push to meet ORDA's deadline of November 17th to have something available for them to be able to open up their lodge. There had been talk of Holden Hall from Joe Minder Lodge at our last meeting. There's also progress being made on the big tanks. At the end of the day, on Thursday, I sent what is probably best described as a terse email to our engineers and to Cedarwood. And there were 3 engineers here on Friday, and the Joe Minder tanks were wired, prepped, everything was installed. There were a bunch of tests that needed to be done with pressure tests for the big tanks, water test, pump tests. Arenco had to be here to certify the pump station. Long story short, Monday morning, the Joe Minder tanks were available to be used. We hadn't had a signed MOU yet. My understanding through a conversation Kevin had is that ORDA's going to wait for the big tanks. The big tanks should be available on Thursday. The holdup and the only thing that needed to happen, couple of little things that needed to happen. The power to Joe Minder Lodge was upgraded last summer into the pavilion. That got changed over from 240 to 208 3-phase. The pumps, the generator, the electric was all designed off of the 240. So the engineers had to go back and look. What's needed is a transformer.
And it's been purchased and it's here.
It's been purchased and it is now in the hands of our
Engineers.
engineers. So that transformer will get put in. A new service still needs to be dug, and feed the panel, but the panel, the pumps, everything has been tested. So it's just electrical at Joe Minder. And then at the site behind us, not behind us, across the street, electric still needs to get to the auto dialer in alarms. They're running it off of one of the light poles. It's not a huge amount of electricity that's needed. And that work should be completed here soon. So Thursday, Friday, the big tank should be ready to go. And then it's just a matter of Orta agreeing to the Holden Hall agreement. Yeah.
I'm hoping you got the same call I did. I was notified by Orta that their contractor will be creating a power outage at Steeple tomorrow morning beginning 7:30 a.m. to do the work that's necessary over there. Not sure how many hours it's going to take. It will really only affect Minder, the pavilion, the little softball concession stand. I told them, no issues on my part.
Yep.
It's not our contract. Oh, it's not your, no, it's the town's contract. The town's contract, those tanks. Okay.
Yep. That's great. If that work's going on.
Moving quick.
Yeah, that's what they need to wire the transformer and get the power to the big pumps. Yeah, so that's great news. Thank you for that. I hadn't heard that from them. Yeah, so everything is moved along there. Behind Town Hall, not related to Orta's Holden Hall, but related to our project, the big tanks all got put in. There's a distribution tank that then goes to the fixed film process, and they were digging for that tank and hit ledge rock, and then had to, if anyone walked by, and I don't know if people in Town Hall heard it, but there was a big hammer excavator hammering away for about 2.5, 3 days on end to be able to get that tank in. So, that problem was overcome. Down at Railroad Place, they were able to dig and excavate about 75 feet of the line. There's a stockpile of contaminated soil down there. Today, the closer they got to that stream, they hit groundwater, and they still need to go 3 feet down. So because it's contaminated, they had to stop, and we'll be waiting for a frac tank to pump the water into so that the water can be hauled off as waste water. So that is in its time critical. Until there is a processing plant, until there is homes that are ready to hook up with laterals, we have time to work through those issues and problems down at Railroad Place. But the fun never seems to cease. In 45 days, it will be someone else's fun.
Mr. Stevens.
Well, for the senior committee, thing number one, thank you very much, Kevin, for the update on the meal site and meal situation for the senior citizens. I think the only thing that I have to add is that we will undoubtedly be having an extended amount of conversation involving the meal site at our next meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for the first Wednesday in December. That will be 10 o'clock here. So if you have any further questions that we can address, or if you have any suggestions that we can move forward, please feel free to contact our committee and let us know.
Okay. Privilege of the floor.
I'm Judy Brown, and I'm a board member at the Adirondack Community Outreach Center. And I wanted to thank the board for the donation of $15,000. I have to tell you, it has been so needed and so appreciated. Regional has not been able to fill the needs. And like just today, we had 180 people that went to the food pantry. And we had to buy retail some of our product, some of our fresh foods. So we thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else for privilege of the floor? Going, oh,
So I just have a question. I thought of something when I probably shouldn't have been sleeping.
I have those, I have those moments.
As part of the bond process, we went through, we had to instill our auditor.
You had to,
We had, you guys had to do the RFP and the auditor that is in conjunction for required
Yep.
federal audit. So do we know when that process is going to start? Or do you want me to reach out to the group and get some information? Have you guys heard anything that I'm?
Yes, we want you to reach out. Thank you.
yes,
Chris Hunsinger from the USDA is now back at work. He had
yes, finally
A
after
lengthy vacation,
45 days.
45 days, so he would be the one that would, that's a USDA requirement, I believe.
Well, well, it should, when we receive selection federal, it's not necessarily the FDA. It's federal money that triggers the requirement for the audit. And when I reached out to let them know that they've been awarded all the Healy, which is the facility that I'm dealing with, they said, well, reach back out in the fall. The fall's been a little busier than I anticipated. So now the things are kind of slowing down and kind of want to circle back, but I didn't want to push the button on something and have everybody going, what is she doing?
No, by all means, go right ahead. All right. Anyone else for privilege of the floor?
I just wanted to say thank you to Mindy for putting on the economic forum on Thursday. It's a lot of work putting something like that together, and it was really positive and highlighted all the great things happening in our community, all the great businesses that we currently have. And thank you so much for doing that 2 years in a row.
I will say that the EDC was the one that asked for that. They have now posted the recording of it on their website. I certainly circulated that with you, but also publicly. So if people want to watch it or whatever.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
To Jim's point, all businesses, Main Street and otherwise, were all invited.
Yeah.
To collectively have a talk, and it was a busy time for them. They
Yeah.
had 2 weeks notice, but next year they will actually present a little bit more.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
Yeah, I just, as I was sitting there, it was new, and I'm thinking, some of these people have,
Which was the focus, but.
have weathered a storm and are an important piece. Yep. Yep.
Remember too, all the businesses outside of the village proper, there's a lot to support this. We've got a lot of, we should make sure that there's as much as possible involvement on that.
They were all involved on
Yep.
emails and you, it just was,
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Going once, going twice. Call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
So moved. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.